Welcome to Keystone High School in LaGrange, Ohio. John Guzik along with Max Drummond here for another Tuesday night on the Lorain County Sports Network with live Lorain County High School hoops coming your way as we just wrapped up another resounding win for the Firelands JV as they had no trouble coasting to a 50-25 win over the Keystone JV. And the Firelands JV haven't lost since the first game of the season, so they're pretty dominant. They've got a lot coming up. And I tell you what, that varsity team we're going to be seeing in just a little bit is doing pretty good for themselves as well, as they're already off to a 4-1 start in the Lorain County League, and this is a Lorain County League big matchup. As my partner Max Drummond was just here on Friday night on WOBL, following Keystone on that game, and we're back here tonight for this Firelands Keystone matchup. So stick around with us. This chilly, damp night around Northeast Ohio is a good time to just sit in front of your device, your TV, and keep on the Lorain County Sports Network as we've been blessed with some very good games on our broadcast stations and the stream so far this year. We expect nothing less than that tonight. And we're going to talk about this Firelands team that's taking the floor right now. It's going to have a different look off the opening tap. We'll talk about that as we go along. Talk about it starting out with our coaches' corners. We take a few minutes with each of the coaches before the game. And my partner, Max Drummond, going to be talking to Keystone head coach Jeff Holzhauer in just a few minutes. But I took some time to talk to Colin Myers, the head coach of the Firelands Falcons, as our coach's corner is brought to you by Jay Valadez, where you can train with the best. Jay Valadez, a certified AAU coach, brings you the coach's corner that starts right now on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coach's Corner gives us just that, an opportunity to put the coach in the corner here for a couple of minutes, and I have a time with Firelands head coach Colin Myers. Thanks for taking the time tonight, Coach.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys coming out for the game.
Well, tell us what's happened the last time we saw you guys. Had a very successful game when we were on with you guys the last time. I know Nate was our player of the game, had a great outing. What's been happening over the course of the holidays and everything?
Yeah, we're still doing well in the conference. We still just have that one loss to Wellington. Conference is very competitive right now, though. Everybody seems to be knocking off some people. Brookside's the only undefeated team left in the conference. Everybody's playing well. Like I said, we played Black River last week. That was a tough game. They're playing well, playing hard, and it should be a good one tonight with Keystone.
Well, you talk about the conference. It really is just that competitive. But here you guys are sitting at the sixth game of the conference season right there at the top. So everyone's looking up at you guys, but you can't look past anybody in this conference, especially tonight, right?
Well, I mean, that's the message to the team every week, all these conference games. You can't take a night off. Any given night in this conference, either team can come out on top. And tonight's obviously no different. Keystone's playing very good basketball. They play hard. They're quick. It's going to be a tough matchup.
And now what do you know about this Keystone team? Because we're finding out, obviously, when you have a freshman who kind of just explodes on and is right there at the top of the scoring charts, you tend to not have a lot of background or certainly much film on him.
Well, luckily, we were able to see them this summer in a shootout, and he was there. He's a great player. He makes a big difference, And then Grant Hartley, obviously, he's a senior. He's been around a lot. He hurt us last year. He's quick and explosive and, one of the top players in the conference.
So you're getting back in the conference action after some non-conference stuff going on during the holidays. Anything new that you've got planned for tonight?
We're going to look at some different lineups and try some different rotations tonight, see if we can get going a little earlier in the game, not start so slow, and just see how kids play together.
So that's one thing we talked about. Go back to the season opener where we had you guys on WOBL with the Fairview game, and that was the big thing of getting started quicker. So what has happened to try to move that along as far as like what you do in practices or that pregame speech you need to get them fired up on?
Yeah, it's just kind of over the last few games has really been a trend, even at Fairview. We can't dig ourselves in a hole early. We need to start fast, get on top, and just stay ahead of them the whole game. Like you said, this conference is tough, so if you start slow, it's hard to catch back up on these teams and, got to play the full four quarters.
And coming up against Keystone tonight, we talked about their two leading scorers, and we know a lot about them. But you are the type of team, and certainly being 4-1 in the conference right now, that if things go well for you, you guys can kind of control your own destiny. So as a coach, what are you looking, besides that faster start, what are you looking to happen on the floor tonight to make you feel a little bit better about how tonight's going?
Yeah, we have a lot of faith in all these kids on our team. They're good basketball players. We believe they can play with anybody. We just got to make sure we're the more physical team, limit turnovers, and I mean, start fast and physical. If we let them get any sort of confidence early, it just makes it harder on ourselves the rest of the game. So hopefully, just taking it to them early, showing we're the more physical team early, it wears them out a lot faster too.
All right, that's Coach Colin Myers, head coach of the Firelands Falcons, and we're going to be starting things up here in just a few minutes, so stay with us. Tip-off between Firelands and Keystones coming up on the Lorain County Sports Network. All right, welcome back here to Keystone High School. John Guzik along with Max Drummond, and we're getting ready for Firelands and Keystone coming up here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Very happy to have you along. I was trying to figure out as we get into this inaugural year of the Lorain County Sports Network, kind of who the listener and viewers were and what they wanted out of this. And I figured out today that they're smart, because on this chilly, damp northeastern Ohio night, stay in and watch this game in the comfort of your home. We'll bring you all the action right here, and we're expecting a good one, as this is the Stewart's TV and Appliance Game of the Week. Appreciate our friends at Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria and everyone who helps bring sports to you, not only here on the Lorain County Sports Network, but on our radio stations, WOBL and WDLW. And Max Drummond, you were here with WOBL on Friday night watching Keystone play Columbia. What did you take away about this Keystone team from that game?
That's right. It was a very physical conference matchup, as we come to expect with a lot of LCA games. And Keystone, they were out-rebounded, and a lot of their shots that we normally see them hit or that we normally see fall were not going for them, especially early on. Obviously, they have two great scorers in Liam Gorin and Grant Hartley, and they just weren't able to get going. They started the game cold, and it kind of just felt that way. It was like they were playing catch-up most of the night. So I know Coach Holzhauer wants to see them play a lot more physical and to not settle for shots. I know for a fact that's something they want to improve on.
And those are two names you just talked about that we heard about in the coach's corner. And we got a couple of names on the Firelands side, because Firelands is going to be putting out a brand new starting lineup tonight. Trace Karolak and Aiden Fortner, who's a sophomore on the JV team. And Aiden not only coming up to the varsity level, but starting tonight. We'll get into that as we get into our starting lineups. But let's talk about what are those keys of the game. You mentioned for Keystone what they need to do. The Buckeye Community Bank brings you the keys to tonight's game, where today and tomorrow your partner for growth is Buckeye Community Bank. And what do you see in the key on either side of this team, I think, Max, for that?
So I think starting with the road team, Firelands, when it comes to establishing a rhythm, that can be a little bit difficult to do when you insert new guys into the lineup, but they have a lot of experience throughout it. So I think lean on that, depend on your guys, and know that they're going to be able to, a lot of them have a lot of experience, and just foster those guys along. And then over on the Keystone side, I'd say you got to drive to the basket early and stay out of foul trouble. Foul trouble was something that really ended up impacting that game with Columbia last Friday, as Columbia got to the line well over 20 times. So just don't allow the Falcons to have free reign at the charity strike.
And definitely another aspect that comes in on the Keystone side brings us to our injury and inactive report tonight, which is brought to you by Elyria Jewelry and Repair. Treating customers like family is Elyria Jewelry and Repair. And for the Keystone Wildcats, they started the season without one of their more promising athletes out there, and Zach Shackelford, the junior, is now going to be playing in his sixth game tonight only of the season, and he's already averaging 5.6 points a game. We mentioned his sixth game. We're looking at, for these teams, this is game number 11 for the Keystone Wildcats. They come in 4-6 overall, but 3-2 in the conference, and we talked about that Columbia game this past Friday night on WOBL. It was literally the difference between being right at the top with Brookside and Firelands or settling for third place, and this is a chance. This is a battle for second place in the Lorain County League at this point in the season, because the Falcons come in 4-1 on the season, 5-2 overall. And one of the other aspects about the Firelands team that we learned today is that their game that was scheduled this Friday against Brookside, which is clearly a monster game in the Lorain County League, as the Cardinals are still undefeated so far this year, that game has now been moved to next Tuesday due to the Browns playoff game maybe garnering some sports fans' interest during that same time. So rather than compete or be a distraction, they're going to move the game to Tuesday. Brookside at Firelands will be coming up instead of this coming week. So coming into this game, Firelands has kind of been up and down throughout the year. Again, good record in the conference, but over the last couple of weeks, it's a win, then a loss, then a win, then a loss. That most recent one being a non-conference game against Woodridge last week, where they lost that one 61-57. Meanwhile, for Keystone, mentioned how they are at 4-6 on the season, but that's because of a 3-game losing streak coming in. So obviously at one point in the season they were off to a promising start, but they've lost 3 in a row to Norwalk and Amherst, and that was a great game on our radio waves too. That overtime game against Amherst was on WDLW, and then losing this past Friday to Columbia. So Keystone trying to break out of a little bit of a funk that they've got going on, and Firelands trying to get a little more balanced and getting things going. So we're going to talk about how they're going to get things going with that starting lineup, and get you to the tip-off of tonight's game. Firelands and Keystone coming up in just a minute here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Back here at Keystone High School, it's the Lorraine County Sports Network. John Guzik, very, very happy to be with you here tonight. And remind you that, especially those who are just finding us for the first time tonight, this is our first chance to have Keystone on the stream, that we do this every Tuesday night of the high school basketball season. And a week from tonight, we're going to be on the other side of the county, as we'll be at Avon Lake High School, having them on the stream for the first time this year, as they'll be taking on North Ridgeville, who I had the opportunity to see this past Friday with our WDLW team as they battled out against Elyria, and North Ridgeville doing that without one of their leading scorers. Took that game down to the final couple of minutes of that game before dropping that one to Elyria. And of course, Avon Lake really just showing themselves as one of the premier teams in Lorraine County after a rough start. Before we get this one tipped off, our national anthem brought to you by Rich Resendez. Rich Resendez for Lorraine County Sheriff in 2024. Always a great tradition of high school sports, and a signal that we're about ready to tip off on this game tonight. It's Firelands and Keystone here. Let's get into the starting lineups, which are brought to you by Smitty's Place, where friends meet. And let's talk about the friends that'll be on the floor to start things off for the Firelands Falcons. They're going to go with number 3, Trace Karolak. He's a 5'11 senior guard. Getting into the starting lineup tonight is Coach Myers trying to stir things up and get a better start for the Falcons. That's been an ongoing issue with Firelands, even though their success in the league and their overall winning record, they're not having the greatest starts they want. Number 5, Nico Katsas, he's staying in the starting lineup. He's averaging 15.6 points per game on the season, the leading scorer for the Firelands Falcons. He's a 6'4 senior forward. Also on the starting lineup, you'll see number 23, Max Stinson, a 5'10 junior. He's also going to be joined out there by 6'3 senior Jim Onspaw. Onspaw, he's their big guy on the boards, averaging 8 rebounds a game. And getting the start tonight, being pulled up from the JV. He's gotten some time on the varsity floor the last couple of games. But jumping into the starting lineup tonight will be 6-foot sophomore Aiden Fortner. And you'll see him out there wearing number 42 for the Falcons. For the home team, the Keystone Wildcats, you're going to see a lot about, we're going to talk about this guy a lot. He's number 1 on his jersey, and he might just very well be number 1 for Keystone Hearts for the next 4 years, because he's a 6'2 freshman. Liam Gorin out there now averaging 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in his inaugural season at the high school level. He'll be joined out there by number 2, Grant Hartley. He's out the opposite side. He's the senior leader out there. 5'10 seniors averaging about 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Also starting out tonight will be number 5, Logan Nagel. He's a 6'2 junior, averaging 8 points, 8 boards. And Zach Shackelford, we mentioned him in our injury and active report. He's out there healthy and running around. He'll be wearing number 10, averaging about 6 points with 4 rebounds a game. And rounding out the starting lineup, number 21 for Keystone on the white jerseys, Tucker Webb is a 5'10 sophomore, averaging about 4 points and a little over a rebound per game. We're ready to go. It's Lorain County League action live here on the Lorain County Sports Network. The tip-off gets us going, and we're off and underway with Firelands starting the ball, and that's Max Stinson bringing it off to the left side to Trace Karolak, down in the corner to the new guy to the varsity. As they try to skip it across, it has to be saved on the corner, but they do. Now this is Onspaw working it into the lane. Fortner, big guy working in. This is Nico Gatzis pulling up at the foul line, no good. Rebound comes down to Logan Nagel. Here comes Keystone's first possession of the game. Working around the left side and laying it up on the left side. off the glass and in. Gives the first points of the game for Keystone, and it comes off the hand of Zach Shackelford.
And Shackelford did a great job last game of getting the scoring going, and he really kept them in that game.
See his quickness, and there's Max Stinson getting the ball knocked loose by Shackelford. Back up is Fortner. That one's no good. Gets his own rebound on the floor. Stinson keeps it alive at the top of the key. Onspaw maybe took an extra step. No call, but as he goes up, gets a bump and the basket. Ties the game with a chance to take an early lead. It's Jim Onspaw getting a chance to convert here early.
Yeah, Keystone has done a great job rotating and trying to stay in front, but just better job passing and scrapping underneath by the Falcons so far.
Some people might know I'm a basketball official on some of the other nights that we're not here on YouTube, and I mentioned it, maybe an extra step, but it's part of the habit of watching a game. You're watching the ball, and the officials are watching that pivot foot, so hopefully they got that right. Shot no good off the hand of Hartley. Rebound put back up by Nagel's no good, and now Firelands back with the ball in a 2-2 tie game. Max Stinson driving the left side, gets met by Nagel, and ball comes off the rim, no good. Controlled by Shackelford, back into the front court. His speed is just one thing that sets him apart on the court. I'm talking about Shackelford there, number 10.
It is amazing seeing him back out there in what feels like such a short time as well in recovery.
Keystone trying to work for the better shot, knocked on the ground by Gotsis and picked up by Onspaw, and here comes Firelands, still tied at 2. Driving down on the right side for Firelands is Karolak. Ball gets knocked out of bounds. They'll keep it. 6:11 to go, first quarter, just getting underway, and Firelands looking to stir things up with their starting lineup to get things started better. It really hasn't resulted here, obviously, in the first couple of minutes with just 2 points, but Keystone not faring any better.
Both sides have really made an emphasis to drive in, and we'll see another one here.
Gotts is trying to drive and then drop it down to Stinson underneath the basket, but Stinson was looking for get in a rebound position. The ball goes out of bounds, so a turnover by Firelands. And we're 2 minutes in, and 2-2 is the score. Here's Keystone working on the right side. That's that freshman Gorin. In the corner to Shackelford, pumping up a 3 is no good. Battle for the rebound, and Aiden Fortner using his muscle and size in there to get a grab on the ball, and then he gets a grab on the arm. I believe that was on Webb. It's going to be his first and team first. 5:48 now in the first quarter. Just getting underway here in Keystone. At Keystone, I should say. We're in LaGrange. Max Stinson for the Falcons brings it into the front court on the left side. Gets it down on the foul line to Fortner. Give and go to Gotsis, and Fortner lays it in. And he has 2 points for the night. 4-2 Firelands.
Already his second shot attempt. He's been very aggressive so far.
Not going to be shy, right? Not shying away from the limelight, but like Coach Meyer said, he's had some varsity time already before tonight, not just throwing him into the starting lineup. Now we've seen it on the Keystone end. We're trying to pass it underneath, and guy intended receiver on that pass, not really prepared for it. Turns on a turnover for Keystone. Here's Fortner back in the top of the lane, drops it in. And all of a sudden, sophomore new to this Firelands lineup is our leading scorer on the game. 6-2 Firelands, 5:04 to go first quarter. Trying to get it down in the middle. Gorin drops it down to Nagel. Nice ball movement by the Wildcats. Get it back to 6-4. Firelands quickly back the other way, and ball's tipped on the pass and intercepted by Firelands. Shackelford going to try to do the same thing he did on his first basket, but defense is up to the task there, so back out to Nagel on the left side to Gorin. Cuts his dribble to the left, flips it up in the air, and not going to hit anything, but picked out of the air by Fortner, and he's back the other way handling the ball. Kind of loses the handle, but Gotsis had enough to get to it in the corner. Drops it in the middle of the lane on the cut-in by Karolak, no good. Back the other way for Keystone, still 6-4, about halfway through this first quarter. Shackelford gets the ball knocked away as he tried a spin move. Warren still hasn't tried his first shot yet of the game. This is Hartley, the senior, driving down, dishes it to the corner for the three-point attempt. Off the rim, straight up and back into the arms of Fortner for Firelands, and the Falcons are coming back for more offense. Karolak gives it back to Fortner. Now he's going to try a 3. That one's way short, but Onspaw there for the rebound, spins, and going to call the grab before he started his upward motion. Kind of one of those in between, because he was spinning and going to try to face the basket, but he certainly had it started a natural upward motion. So the official says Going to take that one out of bounds. Getting some substitutions, and these are the guys who were starting for Firelands the last time. Taking the ball out of bounds here is going to be Nate Draga. He was actually our Hoop Tech player of the game last time we had Firelands on our sports broadcast. And also in the game number 2 for Firelands is Chris Radman. Radman actually averaging in double figures, but bringing him off the bench today. This is Draga trying to make some motion there in his chance, and out to Radman, who drops the 3. Chris Radman coming off the bench in this instance and immediately makes an impact, puts it out 9-4. Advantage Firelands with 3:30 to go first quarter.
Yeah, I think that's easily got to be the scariest thing about this new rotation for them is even when the new guys come out, you're bringing in just as experienced guys after them.
Another turnover for Keystone. Firelands back the other way. Stinson down to Onspaw, getting double teamed, fronted and back. Shackelford's got him tied up now from behind. He's still alive, gets it out to Radman. Radman across court to Stinson, back underneath to Onspaw, knocked out of bounds. Again, that quickness by Shackelford is just something that's not matched by a lot of guys in the whole county. Back in the game now for the Wildcats. Number 1 is the freshman, Liam Gorin. He's also going to be joined by Logan Nagel. Those are both starters who took a brief break here in the first quarter. 3:07 to go. Firelands still with the ball. Inbound from pretty far in the corner on the baseline. Comes into Onspaw. Again, handoff Radman. And they're going to call, I believe it's going to be on Onspaw after he dropped off the ball. Blocked on an offensive foul, and a turnover again for Firelands. And that's the first team foul.
That's certainly an underrated aspect of that speed. Obviously in transition it's going to stand out, but even playing defense right there did just enough, did Shackelford to draw that foul.
2:51 to go first quarter. Ball down in the corner, knocked out of bounds by Karolak as Shackelford tried to rein it in. And now we're going to get Grant Hartley back in the game, again in a starter who took a quick break back in, giving Shackelford, also part of the starting lineup, a little rest. Hartley looking to inbounds, gets it out top to Gorn. Gorn guarded by Karolak, looks to his coach for a signal, and I don't know that he got it, but play continued on. Now gets past the defender, and I got 5 on 4, and they're going to dump it down on the block to Blake Moore, who comes off the bench for his first 2 points of the game, and it's 9-6 Firelands with 2:30 to go first quarter.
I mean, how calm do you got to be to turn your back to the whole defense and still be able to dribble with the defender on you?
Here's a Stinson from the corner, no good. 3-pointer is awry, and Nagel gets the rebound and then gets a foul on Onspaw, and on 2 successive offensive possessions, Onspaw picks up 2 fouls. So just the second one on Firelands, but both of them being on Onspaw means he's going to take a break as Nico Gotsis comes back in for Firelands. He's number 5. And then Shackelford and Webb are back on the floor for Keystone.
Well, I was just about to say, bringing Shackelford out like they did, are they still trying to condition him, get him back into game shape? But clearly not. He's right back. All he needed was around 20 seconds.
And they've done that with almost all their starters, giving them kind of like a 20, 30-second break. Ball needed some maintenance there. They had a little, I think, sweat perspiration on it. We're back at play here now. This is Shackelford working from the corner, hands it off. Coming by is Hartley. Still working way around the 3-point arc. Firelands defense keeping the ball at bay, but now Hartley to the hoop, and good. Taking the foul on the way to the basket and a chance to tie the game. Foul's going to be on Stinson of Firelands. That's his first, team third. Hartley's first 2 points of the game, and if he converts this free throw here, it'll be tied up. So far on the season, Keystone as a team shooting 60% from the line, and that's not going to help it at all. Gotsis with the rebound. Stinson back up the court quickly, gets it up to Karolak, looking for Draga, in the middle. This is Radman on the left side, drives into the side of the lane, but shot's up no good. Rebound corralled by Karolak, trying to come back at it, drops it to Stinson, cutting down the lane, toss it up on the rim, thought he was going to get the shooter's touch, no good, and Keystone back the other way off the rebound by Nagel. In the corner, Shackelford this time on the left side. Gets it up to Gorin. Working it around. Nagel now on the right side. You know they want to look into the lane of Gorin, trying to dump it down, but the receiver wasn't there to keep the ball, and there's going to be a kick by Radman for Firelands. Will keep the possession alive for Keystone Wildcats. And into the game, Fortner back in And we've talked a lot about 42 so far. He comes back in with 4 points on his first starting assignment of his varsity career. 9-8 still to score. Firelands up 1 with 1:15 to go, first quarter.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Gorin being the inbounder there, and then also in a lot of these possessions, he's the facilitator. He's not the one moving off screens. I wonder how long they'll keep up with that, considering he's one of their best at it.
This is Gorin spotting up for a three-pointer, wide open, he drops it. Liam Gorin, his first points of the game, and for Keystone, their first lead of the game. Now up 11-9, under a minute to go, first quarter. This is in the corner, is Fortner trying to three, no good. Rebound Hartley, and he's gonna head back quickly the other way. They've got numbers, 4 on 3, Hartley to the line, shots up, no good. Radman tracks it down in the corner, knocked out of bounds by Shackelford. Coach Holzhauer jumped off the bench on there, was trying to tell Zach, don't pick up a foul down in that corner way away from the basket. He didn't, just knocked the ball out of bounds. Firelands keeps possession, final 35 seconds here this first quarter. Nico Gotsis driving the baseline, cut off by Gorin, top of the key. Little ball fake by Draga, shots up on the left side, no good. Hartley with the rebound, 23 to go, first quarter, and Hartley's gonna set up the offense under the coercing of Coach Holzhauer to say we'll play for the final shot here as we're down to 14. 11-9, Keystone has their first lead of the game, trying to add to it here before the buzzer. We're at to 8 seconds now. Hartley driving right, spot up jumper, pull up, no good. Radman rebound with 2 seconds to go, gonna launch from three-quarter court, no good, and that's how our quarter is gonna end with the Keystone Wildcats 11, Firelands 9. Quarter two's on its way, so stick around here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Here at Keystone High School in LaGrange, Ohio. I'm John Guzik along with Max Drummond on the Lorain County Sports Network. We've got Firelands and Keystone matched up here. And Keystone's coaches were talking about better shot selection and a better start to the game. Firelands shook up their lineup to try to get something going here, and I don't think either coach is really going to be happy with that, with it being an 11-9 game, but that's kind of what has made the beauty of this Lorain County League. It's just every night, it's just so competitive, game in and game out. And frustrating as a coach because you can draw it up any way you want, but that don't mean the way it's going to happen when you got to face a team like Firelands.
Exactly. I mean, both sides have gotten some open looks to choose from. They just haven't hit them, but also you got to love the pace that both sides is playing with, and they're definitely brought their lunch pails tonight. And I assume, based off of what I saw Friday, and I know you've seen Firelands a few times, it's probably going to keep up that way the rest of the way.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, that we had Keystone, a good matchup against Columbia on WOBL this past Friday night. We started the season with Firelands on WOBL and have had them on our YouTube stream earlier this year. So we've had a chance to see them a lot. Here we go, getting things started here in the second quarter. That's Grant Hartley trying to three. No good, and Firelands trying to quickly come back. Quick pass from Stinson, finding Fortner, running the court, and getting the easy two to tie it up at 11 here. Early second quarter. Of course, remember the fouls, team fouls reset every quarter this year, new rule in high school sports, so that's not going to be an issue here as we get started. Shackelford hands it off. Webb now getting it back up top to Gorin. Gorin works down to the foul line, there's a back behind him. Now this is Shackelford. He's going to try to cut in, but he's cut off. Gorin driving down the lane. He's getting almost triple team there in the corner, but he's got room to get it to Shackelford for the three. It's no good. Rebound by Fortner. 6:57 in the half is what we have left. Score tied at 11. That's Draga into Stinson, back to Draga, across to Fortner. Quick pass around the horn to Radman. That didn't hit anything, but Nico Gotsis is there to clean it up and put it away. He has his first two of the game, and Firelands back up on top, 13-11.
Right there, Firelands did a great job working it around the perimeter, and lo and behold, it was their great offensive rebounding, and that's what hurt Keystone previously on the season, so Coach Holzhauer definitely wants to see that improved upon.
Nico loves those stats, an offensive rebound and the putback points. He'll take it every time. Deep three by Liam Gorham is no good. They've missed 3 threes already this quarter. Talk about shot selection for Keystone. Not their best effort to get the second quarter started. This is Draga kicking it back out to Radman. He's trying another 3. That one's no good. Stinson there to clean it up this time. So that's 2 misses that Radman has, and his offensive teammates getting the boards and getting the putbacks, and it's now 15-11 Firelands. 5:52 to go, first half.
Getting very untraditional assists at the moment is Radman.
There's this jumper off the left side. This one's a 2-pointer, and it counts for 2. Liam Gorham, the freshman, has 5. 15-13.
And we saw
Stinson looking for help. He gets it to Fortner at the foul line. He's going to drive down the right side, and he's going to get called for the offensive foul. Positioning was good by Tucker Webb, the sophomore, doing a good job of getting his front-facing the dribbling player, and bigger guy took him down, and he'll take the foul. And first foul of the quarter for either team, and the first foul of the game on Aiden Fortner.
Yeah, you read my mind right there. Tucker Webb giving up a few inches in height there. Did not matter. He stood tall, stood strong.
Keystone finally got on the board for the first time on their last possession in this quarter, trying to tie it back up. This is Grant Hartley. Hartley in the corner. Shackelford driving down, loses the ball, but we're going to say it was knocked out of bounds by Gotsis, so Keystone will keep it. 5:13 first half, 15-13 to score. Hartley looks inside, but then tosses it out to Shackelford. Drives, tried to dish. He didn't get it all the way to Nagel, and now it's on the floor in the lane. Keystone somehow is going to keep the possession out of all that.
Wow.
This is Hartley working against Karolak. I'm sorry, not Karolak. On the right side, Blake Moore is going to hit 3, and all of a sudden Keystone, which kind of seemed like they were struggling to start this quarter, has retaken the lead. 16-15, 4:40 to go first half.
Blake Moore already with a couple of baskets on the night for the freshman.
Gotsis moving in, and now they're going to call him for the offensive foul. That time it was Blake Moore, the freshman. Now the young guys getting in front of offensive players and getting the charging call. Had position, and Gotsis probably didn't even know he was there as he was looking to receive the pass down on the block. Turn and gets the foul. Second team foul on Firelands. First foul of the game on Gotsis.
Blake Moore dropped 6 points in that JV game. He's already 1 point away from matching that here in the varsity.
This is Hartley working against Radman. Goes left and back right, and as he tries to take it up, he's going to get the foul on Radman, and already we've got 3 team fouls on Firelands here in this quarter. And we're going to get a trip to the line for Hartley. He was there in the first quarter one time. I mentioned that the Keystone Wildcats come in shooting 60% from the field. They're averaging 58.7 points a game. Meanwhile, Firelands averaging 60 points per game. Coming back in the game here for Keystone, number 13 is Carter Uhrig. He's a 6'1 junior, averaging just over 4 points and 2 rebounds a game. Hartley misses that one. I thought it hit the strap up on top. Coach Holzhauer and a couple of the fans thought it did too, but no call. Would have been out of bounds to Firelands, but now Keystone's going to keep the ball because of that. 4:15 still, stuck at 17-15. Uhrig can't drag that in, but again, Firelands getting their hand on the ball, but not being able to gain possession. They're going to get it that time because they're going to get Hartley for the travel as he kind of had that rocker step trying to start his move. Not something you're going to see out of a guy who's senior who scores that many points. I think he just had that mental lapse of just where he was going to go with that. Stinson fakes the pass to Radman, takes it himself, pops it in for Max Stinson. He's got 4 in this quarter, 4 for the game, and it's tied back up at 17. And we're going to get a jump ball. Stinson putting the defense on Liam Gorham, trying to go to the hoop. Got his hands on the ball, and alternating possession arrow faces Firelands, so the Falcons will get the ball here. 3:48, first half, tied at 17. Glad to have you along. I'm John Guzik along with Max Drummond. This is the Lorain County Sports Network, part of the WOBL, WDLW Sports Department. Fireland's going to keep the ball here. Remind you that we're going to be in Avon Lake a week from tonight on our sister stations. WDLW will have girls basketball tomorrow from North Ridgeville. I just had the North Ridgeville girls on Friday night against Elyria, and Grace Kingery lit it up for 45 points and a school record. And I'm telling you, it was like she didn't even try. And I don't have the specifics because I'm out running the court, but it didn't seem like she had a lot of points in the first quarter. I know for a fact she didn't score in the fourth quarter because she hardly played in the fourth quarter. And the young lady still put up 45 points. It was an amazing display of just pure shooting. And we're going to hear her tomorrow on WDLW against Midview. Here it's 17-17. Liam Gorham drops it to Nagel on the left side. This is Urig, gets the ball knocked loose by Gotsis, and Gotsis tracks it down for another Keystone turnover. Here comes Max Stinson trying to get the lead. I'm sorry, that was Draga trying to get the lead for Firelands. Gotsis kicks it out in the corner to Draga. Draga, Radman, Stinson. All the way around on the left side is Dunphy. Tried to dump it down to Gotsis, knocked out of bounds. Dunphy's going to come out, and Aiden Fortner's going to come back in, number 42 for Firelands.
Great recovery there on the defensive play by Urig, and we're going to need a lot of that here if they're going to keep pace in this game.
I mentioned both teams scoring basically high 50s, and we're on a pace to only score in the 40s right now. So see who offensively can get things going. Stinson drops it out to Radman. He's going to get the open three, and he's going to hit it. That's his second one of the game, one in each quarter. He's got 6, and Firelands back on top now, 20-17 with 2:30 to go first half. Gorham lurking against Stinson. Gets it on the right side to Shackelford. Shackelford drives around the top of the key, and you get a blocking call on Stinson. Going to be his second foul of the game and 4th foul of the quarter on Firelands, so Keystone will be shooting from the line the rest of the way. Stinson with 2 fouls comes out in favor of Trace Karolak, and Grant Hartley returns for Keystone. He's number 2 in the white jersey. This is Shackelford inbounding to Hartley, takes it all the way out to the circle, looking to set up his offense, gets it back to Shackelford on the right side. This is Goring, guarded closely by Radman. Firelands definitely extends their defense all the way out. This is Gorin, pull-up jumper on the baseline, no good. Ball's knocked loose on the rebound by Urig, still loose, and finally picked up by Draga, who very alertly gets it down on the block to Radman. First one's no good, but his putback gives him 8 for the game, and this is the biggest lead of the game for either team. Firelands out 22-17, final 2 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, Radman playing that role off the bench very well tonight.
Hartley shots up, no good. Draga with the rebound. Radman almost walked on the defense by Shackelford, but recovered in time to keep it alive. And this is Gotsis working on the right side, kicks it across to Fortner, works in the lane to kick it out to Draga, and he drops the 3. And I just said, who's going to find the offense first? And it looks like Firelands responding at least now with a run at 9-0 run. And they're now up by 8 with 1:19 to go. And Gotsis blocking that ball out of bounds. Logan Nagel's going to return for Keystone.
It seems like the last few possessions have been ISO ball or trying to get a shot off the dribble. We'll see if Keystone tries to go back to more screens and cuts back door.
Gorham gives it to Hartley. This is Hartley working on the right side against Karolak. We saw Karolak really do a great job of slowing down Nate Borling in Columbia a couple of weeks ago. By Firelands on the rebound attempt, though, so with 36 seconds left, Keystone will retain her possession, trying to cut into the 6-point lead.
We haven't seen them have a lot of success out of these inbound passes.
A whistle on the inbounds from the opposite side official, and the foul's going to be on Nagel, and that's a team possession foul. First one of the quarter on Firelands, first one of the game on Nagel. Blake Moore comes back in to give Nagel a break. 36 seconds to go, first half. See if Firelands wants to protect their lead and work for the final shot or not. And still in the backcourt is Karolak and Radman. Get it across the timeline in time. Fortner, left side, looking for some help. 22 seconds first half. Radman to Karolak, guarded closely and keep that 5-second count going. And with Gotsis gets some space, so he holds it for a few. We're down to 12 seconds first half. This is Radman working against Shackelford. Spins, gets the pick from Draga, but now the ball's loose. Radman recovers, tries to get it into Kerouac, broken up by Keystone. And with just 1 second left, Grant Hartley says, we'll go to halftime this way, and that way is going to be Firelands 25, Keystone 19, as we're at halftime here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Stick around. We're going to halftime. We've got our Health Markets halftime show for you, and that'll include a little conversation with some of the other members of our team and get you stats that made up this first half score. And obviously get you to second half action. The halftime show brought to you by Health Markets Insurance. If you're uninsured, enroll today with Jeff Allison and Amherst. And we'll be back talking about this Lorain County Sports Network crew right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. 25-19, Firelands has the lead here at halftime. I get a chance to introduce you to some parts of the rest of our crew here, because Edwin Vereen, he's the first guy here every night, get everything set up, and he's producer, director, on-site engineer. That's all happening, and he'll put a wave to the camera as well. And we'll get a chance during the course of the season to talk more with Edwin, but we're going to talk with our cameraman. You don't get to see him anytime out there, but Michael Allison, appreciate you being a part of the Lorain County Sports Network crew.
Absolutely.
Let's tell our viewers, listeners, a little bit about yourself first.
Always resided in Lorain County, so I have a love for Lorain County High School sports. Went to Brookside myself, graduated there X amount of years ago. We don't need to say that.
I like to Very good.
Act like I'm still young. I'm actually a teacher in Elyria City Schools, and being involved and being able to do this with Lorain County sports is something that I really enjoy. I was able to jump in for a football game this season with you guys.
Right. Our first
and,
one.
Since
the
then,
very first one.
Yeah, first one.
You kept saying, let's get this guy back over here. What do you teach, by the way?
I teach American history, 8th grade.
And so what is your connection? How did you become involved with this Lorain County Sports Network? What's the tie in there?
I'm actually friends with Gary Tollett.
You're the one.
WOBL.
I knew he had one out there.
Yep.
For him.
And he reached out and asked about the football game. And I really enjoyed it and asked him, if there was anything else that I could do, I'd be more than willing to jump in. And he said, hey, I got basketball season. You interested? Jumped on it right away.
So Gary and Renee Tollett, for those who aren't aware, are owners of WOBL and WDLW, of course, and they have created this YouTube channel to be a part of this. So they made some pretty good moves, except for that play-by-play guy. The rest of the crew is bringing things along. So what do you want to express to our viewers out there of what you're trying to do behind the camera, and when you bring them kind of the picture of what's happening in the gyms each Tuesday night?
I'm really trying to bring people who may not be able to make it to the game. I'm trying to make it feel as if they're here. Trying to give them the same view that you would see sitting in the stands as a fan, and giving them that same experience, an experience you really can't replicate from high school sports. But I'm doing my best to give that to those people viewing.
Well, I appreciate you being here. We're going to have those Elyria Pioneers on our stream here later this season,
yes,
so we'll get a chance to tie that in as well. And while you're watching here on YouTube, you'll see this guy now, because you won't see him the rest of the game. He'll be behind the camera bringing you the video, part of the Lorain County Sports Network team that we wanted to take a few minutes here to introduce you to at halftime. We've got about 6.5 minutes before the third quarter starts, so we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we'll run down the scoring of the first half and get some stats that made up that first half result. It's a 6-point lead for the Firelands Falcons over Keystone. So stick around. We'll be right back with more here on the Lorain County Sports Network. back here at Keystone High School. You know, we're busy trying to bring you the live action of the 10 guys that are on the court all the time. So I didn't get the rules of this contest that's going on the court right now. But apparently, I know a lot of schools have gone to these halftime fundraisers either in lieu of a 50-50 or in addition to that. So there's a young lady out there collecting cash that gets you a shot from the three-point line, and then you'll get winnings, obviously, if it goes in. But hey, there one went in. Does he double his money? Is that what it is? I see going back. I want to see the young blonde girl in the lane get one in there, though.
I was going to say, right where she's shooting at, that's where I'm comfortable. Don't send me out any further.
Well, one thing I'm noticing as we go through the stats here and the numbers at halftime, the score is 25-19 in favor of Firelands, is that nobody's made a free throw tonight. So that's one thing that both teams can improve on. Let's tell you how we got to this 25-19 score for the Firelands Falcons here on the road with their 4-1 conference record. They had quarters of 9 and 16. They gave them 25 for the game. They're led by guy off the bench. Actually, this time, Christopher Radman doing exactly what the coach wanted him to do. Come off the bench and inspire some offense midway through the game. He has 8 points. He's the leading scorer. He's also followed up by the guy who got into the starting lineup tonight to try to change things around, Aiden Fortner. He's got 6 points on the night. So those are your 2 leading scorers. Rounding out the scoring, Max Stinson has 4 for the Falcons. Nate Draga made a 3-pointer in the second quarter, and then 2 points each for Nico Gatsis and Jim Onspall gives us 25 for Firelands. Meanwhile, those 19 points for the Keystone Wildcats, 11 in the first quarter, just 8 in the second quarter. They're led in the scoring by their freshman Liam Gorham and also a freshman Blake Moore. They both have 5 points here at halftime. Meanwhile, Zach Shackelford has 4 and 2 points each from Logan Nagel and 5'10 senior Grant Hartley. Hartley comes into the game averaging 17, though, only held to 2 here in the first half. So that's going to be a big part of this third quarter, is finding a way to get him unleashed. And we mentioned earlier that we had Columbia, who has a very prolific scorer akin to Grant Hartley and Nate Borling. And Firelands did a great job in the first half of really limiting not only his scoring, but his touches. They've done the same here against Hartley. Again, in that Columbia game, they did make some adjustments. Columbia was able to get Hartley some more involved in the offense in the second half, although it was a little too late. We'll see what Hartley can do tonight for Keystone as we continue on with our halftime show, which is brought to you by Health Markets Insurance. It gives us a chance to look deeper into some of the numbers and stats that Max Drummond's been tackling for us tonight.
Yeah, I think the common denominator with what we've seen with Firelands in the games we've covered them so far, and then in the game we keep alluding to, Columbia Keystone this past Friday, the paint has been very telling. Firelands, they themselves have 5 offensive rebounds as a team, which has led to a lot of second chance points, opportunities, and specifically Aiden Fortner, he's got 6 points and 6 total rebounds in just the first half. So he's on pace for what would be a double-double. And I think on the other side, you look at the leading rebounder is 3, which is Carter Uhrig for Keystone. So I think if Keystone wants to try to claw back into this game, they're really going to have to start holding down the paint a little bit stronger than they have so far, and then also holding on to the ball. Keystone had 6 turnovers. I know Coach Holzhauer has to be very frustrated with some of the semantics like that. The offensive rebounds, not boxing out, and those turnovers, which have led to a lot of back and forth plays right around half court. So cleaning that up will go a long way to help Keystone get back in this game.
When you're talking about get back in the game, I was looking around because we're under a minute to go before the second half starts. And to get back in the game, they have to be in the game.
Right.
But they are on the court right now. So we'll take a quick break. We come back with the start of the third quarter as we've got Firelands 25 and Keystone 19 here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back to Keystone High School. John Guzik along with Max Drummond ready for the second half of this Lorain County League matchup. Firelands in the red, Keystone in the white, and the red team's got the 6-point lead, 25-19 as we get things ready to go. And I always appreciate all of our sponsors here on the Stewart's TV and Appliance Game of the Week. And remind you that the Lorain County Community College brings you opening tip-off, but we'll call it the third quarter throw-in as well. As Lorain County Community College, your year, your classes, your future. What's the future hold for the Lorain County League teams that are in play tonight? We're about to find out with you live here. Grant Hartley, we just talked about him, only 2 points so far, well below his season average. Seeing him find a way to break through. Zach Shackelford takes a look, then tries to drive the lane. And he gets in there, gets some contact, and they get a foul right away here in the first 26 seconds of this half. Is not only a foul, but a big foul because Jim Onspall, that's his third of the game. First of the second half, obviously, in the third quarter. And so Onspall is going to go to the bench, and Aiden Fortner come back in. Aiden did play still some JV today. They didn't need him much as the Firelands JV doubled up the Keystone Wildcats 50-25 in a game that really can almost say it wasn't that close. Here's Hartley trying to get his offense going. It's no good. Rebound is Draga. Draga to Radman. Gets it quickly into the front court. Driving on the right side. Up no good. Rebound Nagel. Back the other way just as quickly. This is Gorin looking for Shackelford on the left, but he decides to take it himself on the right. Goes up and over the basket, and Fortner with the rebound. Back to Radman and quickly into Gotsis. He's going to drive towards the lane on the left block. Gets that shot blocked out of bounds. But going to be a foul on Keystone as Hartley hits the dirt. For Hartley, just his first of the game, and obviously first team foul on Keystone. So first 62 seconds of the second half is scoreless. And mentioned earlier that no one's made a free throw yet, and Nico Gotts is going to try to change that stretch for Firelands, but can't do it on the first one. Still 25-19, and you've seen all three quarters. The first minute has been scoreless.
Yeah, it seems like they've taken a sec to almost feel each other out each quarter, especially with these lineups being altered so often.
Exactly the opposite of what each coach wanted, though. It was a little quicker start with some better shot selection, and we're still 0 for everything for both teams on the foul line. And that one gets knocked out of bounds for a team rebound for Keystone, and now they're getting full court pressure from Firelands. Shackelford bobbled it, almost knocked it out of bounds, but recovers, brings it into the front court, just soft pressure to get it up there, and then uses his speed to get past the defender, but his pass tried to wrap it around in the key, and Radman takes it away. This is Draga on the left side, looking. Radman picks off that pass, leaves him alone for a three-pointer, and he's got three of them now. He's already in double digits, and here's coming off the bench to do that, and he's the leading scorer of the game, and this is the biggest lead of the game, 9 points for Firelands. 28-19, 6:22, third quarter. Keystone's got to get that offense untracked if they want to stay in this, and that's a nice pass from Shackelford. Dropping it down to Tucker Webb, who gets his first 2 points of the game.
That was great recognition there by Shackelford. He noticed right away that his man was going to be wide open.
Gotsis with an equally good pass, but he tried to go around the basket, misses that, and Webb's there for the rebound, and Keystone starting the other way. This is Liam Gorin avoiding pressure, and then goes around Radman, but Radman pops it from behind, gets a turnover as Fortner ends up with a steal, but a little sloppy on the other end, gives it right back to the Wildcats. 5:45 to go, third quarter. Hartley into the lane, switches around the hands and puts it up off the glass on the right side. He's got 4 on the game, and the lead is all of a sudden back to 5. Both teams, and not unusual, both teams we know can score in spurts. So Keystone and Firelands both equally capable of doing that. Firelands got the first spurt of the second half, and Keystone's answer actually has dropped it down to a 5-point lead after it was 6 at the half. Zach Shackelford's picking up his first foul of the game, second of the quarter for Keystone. Max Stinson for Firelands trying to get their offense organized. Draga on the right side. Gotts is trying to get it into a streaking Radman. Knocked out of bounds by Gorin, and Firelands will keep the ball.
And Gorin, Shackelford, and just Keystone as a whole right now is being very aggressive, very handsy on a lot of those passes, and they've been able to deflect a few, but also have picked up some fouls or left open some shots. So we'll see if that aggression can pay off.
Stinson had a look to Gotsis, but Gotsis started cutting down the lane, and Stinson dragged his foot for another Firelands turnover. And Keystone getting an excellent chance to get right back in this game after they were down by 9 just about a minute ago. 5:10, third quarter. This is Shackelford driving it on Stinson, dumps it to a cutting Hartley, drops it up and in! Great move by Hartley, and it's that physical, athletic body control that lets him drop that in against the pressure of the defense, and he'll have a chance to make it a traditional three-point play. Second time he's been fouled on a made shot. And this time we get our first made free throw of the game by either team. And it's a 2-point game after Firelands was up by 9 and looking at a chance to stretch it out. Keystone has a great answer, and this is going to get it back to a tie because Liam Gorin's going the distance. And Gorin now has 7 points. We are back tied at 28. Colin Myers for Firelands says, we'll take a timeout here. We need to chill out after that 9-point lead by Firelands. 9-0 run by Keystone. And we've got 4:49 to go in this third quarter. It's a full timeout. So we'll take one ourselves here and be back with you in more action on the Lorain County Sports Network. You know, the mastermind behind all this is that Don Vincent guy, sports director at WOBL and WDLW. He comes up with this schedule long before the season even starts, and he has picked out some gems for us. That's this for sure. Last week we had Vermilion and Black River going down to the wire. We've had Midview with a 2-point game against Columbia on our air. We've had overtime games, a couple of those, and we're wrapped up in another good one here tonight. It's 28-28, 4:41 to go. Firelands had a 9-point lead early in this quarter. Now trying to reorganize and get their offense back on track. Stinson drops it to Karolak, looks at it from 3, decides it back to Stinson, works it around Radman, trying to keep it alive after a pass got knocked away, and Stinson comes up with it. Spin move off the block, no good. Knocked down by Fortner, but picked up by Nagel for Keystone, and the Wildcats have a chance to take the lead here after being down by 9 early in this quarter, and we're only at 4:08 in the quarter. Great run by the Wildcats.
An impressive scoring run, mainly done by this man right here, as well as Hartley.
And Gorin decides he's going to take it all by himself. He's got 4 in the quarter and 9 for the game, and here's a Wildcat lead, 30-28, 3:51 in the third quarter. 10-0 run by the Wildcats now.
And we'll see how Firelands chooses to respond.
And they decide to hold on to Aiden Fortner as he went for that. That's their response. Second foul on Tucker Webb. Second foul on the team in the quarter. Trace Karolak's going to sit down for Firelands as Nick Dunphy comes back in. He's a 5'9" senior guard. Firelands into Radman. Again, the leading scorer for both teams tonight is Radman. He came in off the bench. Change things up for Firelands. This is Fortner working it down to this block. It's tied up, and it is going to be a held ball, so we go to the alternating possession arrow. And remember, Keystone started the quarter with the ball, so Firelands gets this one. 3:34 left in the third quarter. Fortner gets the inbound, handoff to Radman, back to Fortner. Underneath, trying to look for Dunphy, tracks it down in the corner, back to the top of the key to Stinson, and Shackelford takes it away from behind him. Stinson matching that speed to the hoop, just enough to contest it. The basket is no good, and Firelands gets another chance. What a hustle by Max Stinson, because we know how fast Shackelford is getting down the court. There's a shot by Dunphy's no good. Draga gets the rebound, gets fouled, trying to put it back up. He's going to go to the line for the first time today with 3:07 to go third quarter.
And a lot to unpack there. It's a very short amount of time. I mean, you don't see many people able to catch up to Shackelford like that. What an impressive play.
Well, you remember, Firelands was up by 9, and they have been held scoreless since. They're trying to break that scoring drought as the Wildcats on an 11-0 run, and that does end there for Draga making the first of 2. And while we get set for the second one, we get Nico Gatsis back on the court for Firelands, number 5, and Blake Moore is number 4 in the white jersey coming back in for Keystone. Blake Moore has 5 points. That's already above his season average. And Draga makes them both. So we're tied back up at 30. Just over 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Lots of threes up on the board right now. This is Nagel directing traffic, hands it off to Hartley. Hartley trying to work in. You know, that ball was going to be off of Dunphy. I don't know that Moore saw that, and when he tried to save it, made it a turnover for the Wildcats. And jumping it off the bench, I think this is his first action of the game, Emery Fedor. Emery is averaging almost 4 points and 3 rebounds a game. 2:48 to go. Stinson brings it into the front court for Firelands, tops it into the key for Draga, looking underneath for Gatsis. Nice pass, up and in, and fouled on the put in by Gatsis, so that's going to be his 4th points of the game with a chance to go back to the line and make it another traditional 3-point play. Gatsis 0 for 2 so far from the line. 2:40 to go, third quarter. Gatsis looks it up. No good. Battle for the rebound is won by Fedor. Here comes the Wildcats. Feed underneath to Moore. Up in an easy one. Wildcats running the court well. Ties it back up 32 with 2:26 to go. Third quarter. Draga trying to get it in there. The pass was not well placed, but knocked around and picked up by Radman, who drops another 3 out there. He's got 14 on the game and puts the Falcons back up by 3.
And everywhere beyond the 3-point line, he doesn't even have a specific spot. He's just comfortable all around the arc.
Radman almost got his hand on that one, but picked back up by Hartley, and on his second chance going back up, he's fouled from behind. I believe that foul is going to be on Dunphy. Send Hartley to the line for 2. And for Dunphy, that's his first of the game, and for the team, that is their 3rd. Meanwhile, I don't want to hesitate to mention that they've already got 5 fouls on the quarter on Keystone, so Firelands will be shooting this final 2 minutes and 1 second on all fouls in this third quarter. First free throw by Hartley is up, and both of them are good. And that's why those guys score 17 points a game, because making those free throws now. Missed his first 3 on the game, but has made his last 3. And all of a sudden, Hartley has 9, 7 of those coming in this quarter. And this is Stinson trying to drive into the lane, gets the foul. They're going to call this one on Moore. His first, and it's going to be the 4th. Or I'm sorry, it is penalty situation. As I just mentioned, Firelands shooting all fouls for the rest of this quarter. And Stinson to the line for the first time today, trying to extend this 1-point lead with just under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Free throw shooting has not been an asset really for either team, although Keystone has made all 3 of theirs in the second half. Nobody made a free throw in the first half. Stinson trying to change that here for him. Nope. Rebound comes down to Gorin. Gorin, though, didn't see Gatsis behind him, and then is going to get a trip call on Stinson. And Stinson hustling, but that's the call because he was on the ground. He interfered with Gorin trying to advance. So that's the 4th team foul on Firelands. And it's going to be the 3rd on Stinson. So they've got 2 Firelands Falcons with 3 fouls. Onspaw has been on the bench for almost all of this third quarter, and now Stinson has 3. Hartley working. He's against Devin Lynn, getting his first action of the game. 1:35 to go, third quarter. This is Gorin, top of the key, going to try a 3, and he gets it. Liam Gorin, the freshman, lighting it up. 5 in the first half, 7 already here in the second half, so he's in double figures. And Keystone's back on top by 2.
And he's been very selective with which 3s he wants to take. He's only taken 3 on the night, made 2 of them.
Radman tried to hand it off to Gatsis, cutting down the lane, but Zach Shackelford had his hand in the middle of it. He comes away with it. And now we're trying a 3 on the other end for Keystone. It's no good by Gorham. But Hartley's there to put it back. One of the shortest guys on the court, getting the put back with his hustle. And Hartley pounding on the points in the second half. He's in double figures as well. Keystone up by 4. Here comes Stinson, gets around the defense by Moore, lays it up and in. Stinson now with 6. And we're tied, 39-37, 2-point lead for the Wildcats. Under 40 seconds to go in the third quarter. And Coach Holzhauer calling out that they're going to go for this final shot of the quarter here.
Certainly nothing to lose here with the lead and only possibly add to it, especially if you're able to hold it as long as they want to.
Highest scoring quarter of the game by far for the Wildcats. They only had 19 at the half. They've scored 20 in this quarter. And we talked about, remember that first minute plus of the third quarter, we were wondering where's Keystone going to find their offense. And all of a sudden, they've doubled their score. And Hartley going to try the last shot of the quarter. Is no good. Ball's on the floor. Still on the floor. Nobody gets off the final shot. So we're going to end with a Keystone 2-point lead after being down 9 in this quarter. They went up by 4, and they're going to try to protect a 2-point lead as we go to the fourth quarter. And we got another good one here. Don't go anywhere. Keep it right on the Lorain County Sports Network. 20-point quarter by the Keystone Wildcats after only scoring 19 in the entire first half. That's given the home team a 2-point lead as we head to the fourth quarter. I'm not going to say the final quarter by any means because we were just talking before the break about the tight games we've had and overtimes we've been able to experience on not only here on the YouTube stream but on WOBL and WDLW this year. It's been a good one. And this Friday, both of the radio stations will be back live for you as WOBL. Well, that'd be me. Wait, that's me with Dave Rivera. We're going to be at Illyria Catholic on Friday night. The Great Lakes Conference game against Rocky River. Meanwhile, WDLW will be in Avon as the Eagles will host the Midview Middies. And you might be seeing the return of Nolan Good at Avon. I know he's coming back really soon. I'm not sure it's going to be this week or not, but it's certainly something to be talking about. Great live high school hoops on both WOBL and WDLW this coming Friday. Max Stinson is coming this way to your right for the Firelands Falcons as he takes the steal and dumps it off on the left side to Onspa, who's back in the game. Gotsis had his hands on it, couldn't keep it. Urig grabs it but stepped out of bounds. So Firelands will keep it and get the team rebound on that one. Again, no surprise, no scoring the first 40 seconds of a quarter here. But Keystone really got their offense untracked in those last 6 minutes of the third quarter. Stinson for 3 from the right side, right in front of his friends on the bench. That's his first three-pointer of the game, and he's got 9. Gives Firelands the lead back with 40-39.
He made sure before the end of this quarter, he's like, or minute of the quarter, points are going up.
Gotsis pokes away the ball and comes up with the steal, now trying to take it all the way, and he's going to get called for the charging foul. Colin Myers is right there to question that one. For Gotsis, going to be his second foul of the game, first team foul of the quarter on Firelands, obviously. But yeah, we talked about Keystone has failed to score in the first minute of any quarter of this game, and yet they're right here in it, 40-39, and a chance to take the lead back.
Can I just say, these Falcons fans have traveled well. They made it sound like they're home court there for a minute.
Well, that was an interesting. Everyone has a different angle of the play. Although we were kind of straight line with the official on that one to make that a player possession foul. This is Shackelford working in against Gotsis. He's had a couple of steals, and all of a sudden, away from the ball, Grant Hartley goes down. It was defended by Max Stinson. I don't know that there was any contact, or maybe it tripped over each other. Grant says, no, I'm hurting enough. I'm going to go sit down for a minute. But he did walk off quickly under his own power. So hopefully nothing more than a quick rest might go. And certainly for the Wildcats, you always take a little breath when you see someone hit the floor like that. But once you're leading scorer, you might pause for an extra second there. Need to get him back out here for the Wildcats. As right away ended up throwing it out of bounds. And guess who's back in the game? Grant Hartley. Like I said, it didn't look too bad. Something happened just out of our sight because we were blocked by the heads of the reserves on the Keystone bench. That couldn't see if he just turned his own foot or got twisted up with Stinson or not. But kind of tumbled to the ground, but he's back out there, and Nico Gotsis going to the hoop and getting the foul. And Nico's going to go back to the line. He's got 4 on the game. Unfortunately, 0 for 3 from the line so far for Nico. So he's going to try to change that and see if he can extend this lead for the Falcons as we're now almost 2 minutes into the fourth quarter and Keystone has yet to score. So Nico converts the first one. Tucker Webb, one of the starters, back in the game for Keystone. Tucker has 2 points that he scored in the past quarter. Nico eyeing up the second one. And it's a 3-point lead for the Falcons with 6:06 to go in the game. Shackelford looking to get that spark that Keystone's offense found in the third quarter going again, and that's the guy who helped get it going was Grant Hartley. Gives it back to Shackelford, back to Hartley, working it around. This is Gorin against Radman, again guarded very closely. Firelands extends their defense out to wherever the ball is for pretty much every possession. Hartley kind of a step back three-pointer, way short. Draga picks up the rebound, and Stinson looking to bring it back for the Falcons and see if they can extend this lead.
Hartley not much success from behind the arc tonight, and it's very out of character for him.
Nico twisting to the basket, flips it up on the left side, no good. Rebound by Urig into the front court. Stops at the top of the key, gets it off to the right side. Shackelford, that left-handed three-pointer, and he drills it. He's got 7 on the night. His first points of the second half tie us up at 42, 5:08 to go. And again, first points of the quarter for Keystone, though, comes more than 2.5 minutes into the quarter. This is Onspaw working on the left side. Shot up, no good, but fouled on his way up. Onspaw's going to take his second trip to the line today.
Yeah, for Jimmy, I'm sure the Falcons are happy to see him back out there because you alluded to it. He got almost no play in the third quarter, and you can really worry about somebody getting cold, but he's making sure to go get his.
The other thing about Onspaw, though, you stereotype a little bit, but when you're the quarterback, you expect you to be the point guard on the basketball team and a good, shooting it up. He's the big guy underneath who leads the team in rebounding, and so. He's got kind of more of that, not quite as tall as Joe Flacco, but certainly the bigger quarterbacks that the guys desire. He can't make that second free throw, but it's still back in the lead as it gave the Falcons a 1-point advantage as we're at 4:49 to go in the fourth quarter. Keystone trying to take that lead back here. This is Hartley. Dribbling, looking, dribbling, passing. Radman hits the deck in the middle of the lane. This is Blake Moore cutting along the baseline. That's no good. Getting the rebound and getting it back up, though, is Fedor. That's no good as well, and rebound comes off to Onspaw, as we just talked about. And here's Stinson into the front court. 4:23 to go in the fourth quarter. That's Draga. Gets it down to Fortner. Fortner hands it to Radman, cutting down the left side, and he gets whacked on his way up. Could be the third team foul on Firelands already in this quarter. That one's going to go against Gorham.
I will say it was a great pass by Fortner, but he may have had an open layup himself there, so just unselfish play there from the young sophomore.
Radman is lighting it up. He's got 4 threes already tonight, and he's making his free throws. That's his first trip to the line, and makes it a 2-point lead, and that'll extend it to a 3-point lead for Firelands. We talked about it earlier, but interesting thing about Radman, the thing that sticks in your mind, he missed a couple three-pointers that were both offensive rebounds and ended up being points for Firelands, in addition to all the three-pointers he's made. And now with a 3-point lead and the offense a little stagnant for the Wildcats, Coach Holzhauer is going to take a timeout, and we will too. Stay with us here on the Lorain County Sports Network. John Guzik along with Max Drummond back here at Keystone High School. And on a personal note, I would say for most of the Tuesdays of basketball season, the last 15 years, I spent getting yelled at by most fans who really knew a whole lot less about basketball than I did, doing the officiating side. A lot more fun on my Tuesday nights now. And it's really so much because of you, Max.
Oh, I appreciate that,
Appreciate having you as a partner. This is the inaugural year of the Lorain County Sports Network, and I think we haven't screwed it up so bad that they'll do it again next year.
I was going to say, plus we follow a lot of good games. Obviously, Don helps with that with his scheduling, but us being here, who knows? Maybe it adds a little something.
Well, we have had those comments that certainly the players of, always and coaches appreciative of the coverage they get from the radio stations in Lorain County and now on the Lorain County Sports Network as well. Keystone down by 3, trying to get their offense going. They've only had 3 points in this quarter. If you're just joining us, Keystone only got 19 points in the first half, only 3 points in the first half of this quarter, but they lit it up for 20 in the third, and that's why we've got a 3-point game here as we're winding into the home stretch, and this is Grant Hartley drilling a 3 from the right side. Hartley, wow, only 2 points at halftime. And he is lighting it up here in the second half. He's now the leading scorer for the Wildcats. Stinson to the line and kicks it back out to Radman. Drives down the right side of the lane and puts up a 9-footer. Good.
And he's so dangerous from even that distance of 3. Shackelford and others had to respect it, and that just opened him up for the easy mid-range.
18 for Radman now, and it's a 2-point lead for the Falcons.
Now for Keystone's offense, we'll see if they keep trying with the perimeter here. That was Hartley's first made 3 of the ball game on the last possession.
Yeah, I'm adding up Grant. He's at 14 now for Keystone. Still a 2-point game, 1-possession game, 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Shackelford working against Fortner. Decides to go back out to Liam Gorham and competed by Radman. And boy, couldn't tell at all from this angle, but of course Radman wanted the call, but didn't dispute it once the official made the call to keep it with the Wildcats.
Both teams doing a great job of trying to intercept and get in front of passes here. They're really affecting how quick these passes have to get out.
Hartley now guided by Stinson, not going out too far, but I know Grant can hit it from there if he wants to, that's for sure. 2:42, clock continues to click off here in the fourth quarter. I mentioned only 5 points now by Keystone here in the fourth quarter, but they're not going to get too many more with this patience on offense. Now almost threw it away again, but Gorham picks it up and then blocked by Fortner as he went to the basket. Great defensive stand by the Falcons and a chance to add to their 2-point lead with 2:20 to go. This is looking for Onspaw down below, but broken up on the block. And now broken up on the floor, and Firelands trying to regain possession. They do. The players call a timeout. You don't see that too often anymore. The players, I'll tell you how old I am. We'll take a break here while we can. With 2:09 to go in this fourth quarter, it's a 2-point lead by Firelands on the Lorain County Sports Network. Show my age again, because there was a time in basketball where only the head coach could call it, or only the players on the court could call the timeout. And then they said, no, we're going to let the head coaches call for timeout. And there was kind of a whole generation of players who were almost afraid to call timeouts if the coach didn't call it. But there's certainly instances where you get kind of some senior leadership out there and said, we're 2 minutes to go in this game. It's a 2-point game. Firelands wanted to keep that possession. So you saw a couple of the players signal for timeout. Firelands does keep the possession. And as we get to the 2-minute mark of this fourth quarter, this 2-point game, Stinson trying to add to that. Goes to Onspaw to Draga, to Fortner to Stinson, back out to Radman. Gotts is taking a break for Firelands, but he's got those. He's not in foul trouble. They're just giving him a break here. Get him back out there. Good defense by Keystone, but leaves Stinson open. He drops it on the rim. No good. Rebound by Shackelford, and he comes out quickly. 1:40 to go. Into the forecourt, kind of does a stutter step on Stinson. Doesn't go anywhere, and then as he tries to pass it across the lane, it's knocked out of bounds by Draga. Keystone will keep it. trying to tie it up or even take the lead here on this possession, down by 2. We got 1:36 on the clock. Gorham going to try to give him the lead from the 3 in the corner, no good. Rebound comes down to Draga. Stinson now, not going to be in a huge hurry, but one possession game still. Can't get too complacent here for Firelands. Keystone extending their defense. This is Radman. Catches the ball with some contact, but no call. And now the ball's kept alive by Onspaw. Drives down to the block, gives it back to Radman, and he's going to be hammered from behind by Hartley. For Hartley should just be his second foul of the game. And it's going to be the 4th of the quarter for the home team Wildcats. So Firelands again will be shooting free throws the rest of the game. Even if we go to overtime, the bonus situation will continue throughout. So Nagel is number 5 back in for the Wildcats, and then Tucker Webb, 21, also back in for Keystone. Stinson grabs the inbound pass, kicks it out top to Fortner. Now working it around. You can probably get all 5 guys to touch it on this possession too. We're down to a minute to go in this 4th quarter. Shackelford fighting against Fortner, doesn't come up with that one. This is Radman. Radman against Gorin. Now Stinson guarded by Hartley. Pushes back and gets the ball loose as Hartley. Ball's on the ground, he picks it up, puts it in, and we're tied back up. Hartley with the defense and goes the rest of the way. 47-47 with 38 seconds to go. Stinson cross step in the lane, dishes it back out in the left side, but comes around on the right side to Draga, no good. Rebound by Fortner. And he's going to get called for an offensive foul, trying to create some space underneath. Sophomore Onspaw, his second team foul. 27 seconds is all that's left here in the 4th quarter of this tie game. We'll take one last break of live action and come back with a big finish here on the Lorain County Sports Network.
And we're going to be in for quite a special finish here. I mean, 47-47, just under 30 seconds to go in an LCA conference game with a lot on the line for seeding implications moving forward. And we're so happy to be able to bring it to you. A lot of down-to-the-wire finishes on the Lorain County Sports Network this season. It looks like we're in store for another one.
Oh my gosh, these have been some good ones. And here last week, Keystone and Columbia got locked up in a girls' game of undefeated teams that went overtime. And so here we've got Keystone and Firelands. Firelands in 2nd place in the Lorain County League. Keystone would tie them for 2nd if they can come up with a win. And obviously Firelands would keep that spot all by themselves, waiting for that big game next week against the undefeated Brookside Cardinals. So we're going to get a timeout now off of Keystone. This is going to be a full timeout. So we'll take a quick break and come back and set up the final 16 seconds of this one as we're tied at 47 on the Lorain County Sports Network. I'm tired and I'm sitting here. These guys have been running up and down the court for the last hour and 15 minutes or so. I'm going to have to pull it together for the final stretch here. This is a big game. You know, Keystone has had some struggles here lately. Lost 3 in a row, as we mentioned, including a tough conference loss this past Friday. Trying to keep it alive. That Wellington team just beat Clearview 50-40 tonight, and that's who Keystone has on their schedule next. I guys see it on the schedule as Saturday, but I know Firelands moved their Saturday game. And now the inbound gets loose, but Shackelford tracks it down. 13 seconds to go, tie game. Shackelford trying to work against the Firelands defense, kicks it back out to Gorin. Gorin working against Radman, cuts down the right sideline. He's going to put it up. He puts it in. 1.4 is all that's left. How about that? The freshman says, I'm not afraid, coach. I'll take it right to the hoop. Had great defensive on him. I mean, that was as good a defense as you're going to get. And he just had to use his body to create enough distance on his right arm, put it up off the glass, and give Keystone a 49-47 lead. 1.4 is all that's left. Wow. How about that for a freshman?
I mean, that makes it his, I believe, 14th points of the night, and he's a special player. This Keystone team clearly has the talent. They clearly go deep enough in that rotation, but, I mean, let's not overshadow Liam Gorin. He's making a lot of a difference for this varsity roster this season, and I mean, he's been the perfect dynamic duo partner alongside Grant Hartley.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a great move to the basket and laying it off the glass if there was a minute into the game. But for a freshman to take that on himself at this point in the game, it says a lot about not only his physical ability and his talent as a basketball player, but his maturity as a young man to say, I'll take this on my shoulders. And what kind of confidence is that going to build for you when you not only are brave enough to take that shot, but you convert it. And now they're putting 2.7 back on the clock. Officials discussed it during the timeout because certainly Coach Myers is on the other end of the court, jumping off the bench to call that timeout as fast as that ball went to the hoop. So 2.7 is what they decided on. That's plenty of time to catch, even dribble, and take a shot. So let's see what Firelands is going to have set up here. They're going to start on the far side of the baseline, and it's going to be Draga inbounding. The other four Firelands Falcons across, basically center court, but all in the back court. Play is called, and it comes into Fortner. Fortner, he's going to chuck it up. It's knocked in the air. Defended well by Keystone. Falls short, and the Wildcats, the exact opposite of this past Friday night, not only come up, but they come from behind win here on the Lorain County Sports Network, break a 3-game losing streak, but move themselves into second place in the Lorain County League. Wow, we had a great one tonight, and it ends up being Keystone 49 and Firelands 47. We're going to talk with Coach Holzhauer and talk with our star, our Hoop Tech star of the game, which I don't think we have any doubt of who we're bringing up here for the first time ever on the Lorain County Sports Network. So stay with us. I'm going to take a breath, take a break, and be right back with our post-game show after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. We are back here at Keystone High School. Wow, what another great, fantastic finish. We have been blessed with some fantastic games this year. Max Drummond, along with me, pointed out to me before the game that the number each week, of course, continues to increase on the number of subscribers that this YouTube channel has, the Lorain County Sports Network. And I'm telling you, just keep clicking on it and sharing it because we have had some dandies and almost none as good as tonight with a fantastic finish capped off by a freshman taking the onus of the game on his own shoulders, taking it to the hoop to get the win. And that brings us to the Peace, Love, and Little Donuts postgame show. Peace, Love, and Little Donuts in Avon. Feed your inner hippie. And we've got a great postgame to wrap up for you, as at one point in the third quarter, the Keystone offense was just stalled. And Firelands came out firing and had built up a 9-point lead at 28-19. And we were sitting here wondering where the Keystone offense was going to come from. And although the Wildcats did end up with 2 quarters of just 8 points, they put up 20 in the third quarter and were able to complete the deal with a Liam Gorin running right-handed layup to give the final margin of victory here, coming from behind in the second half to take the win for the Keystone Wildcats. Breaks a 3-game losing streak, moves them to 4-2 on the year in the conference, and now 5-6 overall, with a game against Wellington coming up next, which Wellington definitely the surprise team of the Lorain County League, who's added another victory tonight against Clearview. Meanwhile, for the Firelands Falcons, they're still going to stay in second place in the Lorain County League with a huge matchup coming up next, as they are going to be playing the undefeated in the league Brookside Cardinals a week from tonight. And again, remind you, that game was originally scheduled for this Saturday, has been moved to Tuesday to not interfere with that little pro football team in downtown Cleveland that's going to get a chance to play this week. And of course, you got all those Ohio State fans interested to see what that quarterback of the other team's going to do as well. So a lot of interest there. So they're going to make the game Tuesday night against Brookside. Let's start diving into the results of this one tonight, as it kind of broke down what happened in the second half scoring-wise, as Keystone was able to just get enough offense at the right times to make it happen. Firelands did a great job in the first half of building a 6-point lead and holding leading scorer for the Keystone Wildcats, Grant Hartley, to just 2 points. But Grant came alive in the third quarter, and Keystone literally more than doubled their point output in that third quarter. It looked like they were right back in it, but Firelands withstood the challenge and got a lead back up there in the fourth quarter, started making free throws, as Firelands was 5 out of 6 from the line in the fourth quarter, which helped them keep their lead. But Keystone Wildcats just kept nipping away at it, come up with the win, and sealed this one away with a Liam Gorham running right-handed layup to give them the final margin of victory, 49-47. We've got some awards to give out tonight to some of our players, including our shooting star of the game, and we'll have a rebound report. But let's start at the top of the chain of command here as we welcome in Keystone head coach Jeff Holzhauer. Coach, we're sitting here in this game, breathing a little hard. You probably don't want to take your pulse right now, do you?
No. I get into these games, and this is one we just desperately needed. With our last game, tough loss against Columbia, we needed this one bad.
And we talked about that one because we were here at WOBL broadcasting that one. And you talk about desperate, and a lot of times when you have that game on Friday, you feel a little desperation coming to this game, you kind of tense up. And you guys didn't do that. You guys did what you needed to do. But talk about this freshman who put the ball in his hands at the end. What was the conversation during the timeout regarding who you wanted to see with the ball?
Yeah, I mean, Grant's our leading scorer. He's our senior, but they just have some length on their team. So I thought it'd be more difficult for Grant to just get off a good look against their defense. And I know a lot of times people focus on Grant. Grant had 17 tonight. Liam had 14 tonight. I just thought we had a better chance of Liam getting to the rack with his right hand, and we ran a little clear out for him. And Liam's really good with the ball, used his length, and was able to finish at the rim.
We'll talk about his development. And when's the last time you had a freshman who you trusted to take a last-second shot in a big conference game and a big team game, like you said, coming in?
Yeah, we've had some good players over the years. We've had some freshmen hit some big shots for us, but the consistency that Liam is playing with right now is off the charts for a freshman. But like I've been telling, the newspapers, the radios all year, there's nothing that Liam does, and this is not a knock on Liam. There's nothing that Liam does that surprises me. I've been watching this kid basically since birth, and he deserves everything that he gets out there, and you're going to see so much more out of this kid. He's passionate about the game. He loves the game. He works at the game, and he's a great teammate. So we have a lot of great teammates on this team right now, and Liam is definitely one of them.
Well, you speak about a lot of those teammates and a lot of the players. You guys go pretty deep in your rotation. Just speak about the resiliency. I mean, you guys came back from so many different deficits and adversity tonight.
We did. Every time they went up, we battled back. And I told these guys, like, the team last week is not the team I want to coach. The team that you saw tonight, even though you saw us make plenty of mistakes, but you can handle those mistakes when, your kids are just given everything they have. Sometimes high school kids don't make the best decision in the world, but it's not because of lack of effort. And tonight, I just thought our effort was off the charts, and we didn't back down. We knew it was going to be a physical game, and every time, every shot that went up, we knew it was going to be a battle. And we talked about winning every single one of those rebounds. I know we gave up some offensive rebounds. I think we did a better job in the second half, but it was definitely a battle out there. Two physical teams. They definitely had us outsized, so I was very proud of the effort and the fight in our kids.
Well, it was certainly on display, and especially on the video, man.
As you move forward, how do you develop more consistency from the offensive side? You basically survived 2 8-point quarters, including the fourth quarter, but you put that 20 up in the third quarter, and only a portion of the third quarter, all of a sudden things were just clicking. How do you get that click to happen more consistently?
I have no idea.
Thank you.
If I did, we'd be really good, and I'd be making a lot of money writing books.
You'd be down at the Wolstein Center at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, right?
It is. That's the magic formula that every single one of us coaches try to figure out. And what's the beauty of it is, and this is why I love to coach. Every group is different, and this is such a great group of kids. But they're a puzzle. Like every year, it's a different puzzle. They're different personalities, and I was so looking forward to the addition of Liam and some of the younger kids into our rotation, and it's just in our team. But then you got to see how do they fit? How do they fit with the older guys? How are the older guys going to fit with them? How are they gonna gel together? What's the chemistry going to look like? And that is the battle. And it's really good sometimes, and it's really bad sometimes. So. Our goal at Keystone is always, get better every day, and by the end of the year to be playing our best basketball and to try to win championships. And we're used to doing all three of those things. So we need to continue winning. That's what we like to do around here, and we're going to keep fighting and doing everything in our power to do that.
And we're going to continue to be out here covering you, so we're looking to get back and see the
you
Wildcats
guys.
further
Yes.
down the road. And our first chance to have Keystone on the Lorain County Sports Network is a successful one for you.
Yes,
So,
yes. Thank you so much,
Coach
guys.
Holzhauer, thanks for your time today. And let's bring in that
Here's
young
the guy you
man.
want to talk to, not me.
Liam, here's what I don't understand. I was your age at one point. I know it's hard to believe looking at me today, but a couple of months ago, you were playing middle school basketball. Tonight, you're taking the game-winning shot in what your coach even called kind of a desperate, must-win kind of situation in a big conference game. Tell us about that transition from what's happened in these last few months for you.
I just put in the work. We've been playing against great competition all summer, and just glad that my coaches trusted me to take the last shot.
So you talk about putting in the work. What kind of work? What's kind of the thing you concentrate most on when you're in the gym?
Mostly just getting shots up and trusting my shot all the time.
Well, we mentioned it in the course of that play. Firelands played good defense against you. They were positioned in front of you, and you were still able. What was the key to getting past that defender, or early over that defender, and being able to have the touch to put it through the net?
I think my length was a big part of it. Just being tall and super lengthy, able to shoot over my defenders and get around them easily.
And what happens next for you? Your freshman year is obviously going a little bit faster than maybe anyone would have predicted. But I hope you're having fun so far.
Yeah. I'm just trying to keep up the good pace and just get better every year and try to win conference championships.
And who on the team right now so far this year has kind of been a good help to you, these juniors and seniors that are above you? Who's helped kind of make sure that you got that comfort on the court that you have?
I love playing with Grant. We've been really good friends for a few years, and getting Zach Shackelford back, it's been a big help. Another really athletic guy on the floor.
Yeah, you guys obviously work well as a unit, especially defensively. You guys are diving for almost every pass, it seems like. How are you guys able to bring that for 4 quarters at a time?
Yeah, our talk pregame, we just had to out-hustle them because we knew they were gonna be bigger than us, so we just knew we had to bring more effort.
Yeah, and it definitely shows. And I also wanted to know, I know you guys came out a little bit later after halftime than Firelands did. you don't have to get into specifics, but what does Coach Holzhauer get into in halftime to inspire you guys like that?
He just told us to trust each other, move the ball around, and to keep up a good effort, and that things will go well if we keep doing that.
And things certainly did go well for you, Liam. I know this has got to be a first for you because it's our first time having you on here, but you are going to be our Hoop Tech Player of the Game.
Thank you.
And we're going to present you with a beautifully personally designed shirt from Lake Screen Printing, Lorain County's oldest and largest union label screen print company. And we'll put that on you and get you on our social media platforms as well, making sure everybody across Lorain County knows what a great contribution you made tonight and taking that ball for that big game-winning shot. I mean, that's one of those ones that I know from experience that that's a shot you could probably play basketball over the next 20 years. You never forget the game-winning ones, right?
Yeah, it felt really nice to have that go in.
And how about family-wise? Who's out here like that gives you the support you need off the court?
My mom and dad and my grandma and grandpas.
And were they able to be here tonight?
Yeah, I think all of them were here.
Great. Good. Congratulations to you, and our thanks to our friends at Hoop Tech, where basketball meets technology. And in a few years, you'll be putting on our Mr. Basketball watch as well. We're going to keep an eye on you.
Thank you.
Liam Gorham. So tonight, not only 14 points, but pretty steady scoring from across the entire 32 minutes of tonight. And that final 2.7 seconds left on the clock, drops one in off the glass against a intense Firelands defense that makes the game winner in this 49-47 win for the Keystone Wildcats for getting it done tonight. Congratulations, Liam.
Thank you.
Look forward to have you back on here as well. Liam Gorham with us here, going to get his shirt, and appreciate the effort he gave us tonight because we get the benefit of the entertainment and another great night here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We'll talk about the stats that make up tonight's game, talk a little bit more about that Mr. Basketball watch, and get you the final thoughts from tonight's big game and make sure you get our schedule coming up moving forward. But we're going to take one last break and come back and wrap things up here on this Peace, Love, and Little Donuts post-game show on the Lorain County Sports Network. I like that shot right there. Michael Allison, who was our halftime guest, getting to introduce our crew here. I'm John Guzik, not only with Michael Allison behind the camera, but Edwin Vereen punching all the controls, and Max Drummond keeping stats and trying to make sense of anything else I say during the course of the evening. Appreciate everyone who puts their work into this. We ended up with a great one. Keystone ekes out a 49-47 win, and we'll wrap things up here with our post-game show and start with the rundown the scores. First of all, for the Firelands Falcons, they had quarters of 9, 16, 12, and 10. Gives them 47 on the night. 9 points from Max Stinson from his guard position. Also 6 points each from Aiden Fortner, who got his first start of his varsity career, and Nico Gotsis. 5 points from Nate Draga, who came off the bench on this one. And 3 points from Jim Onspaw. And if you think that doesn't come close to anything in 47 points, you're right. Because Chris Radman, coming off the bench today, came into the game averaging 10.6 points a game, puts up 18 for the Firelands Falcons, and did it from three-point range, hit 4 from 3, a couple of two-pointers, and made both of his free throws for a total of 18 points. Great night for the Firelands Falcons. Meanwhile, for the Keystone Wildcats, had quarters of 11 and 8, and then a third quarter of 20, and ended up with 10 in the fourth quarter for a score of 49. They get the win tonight. We talked to our Hoop Tech player of the game, Liam Gorham. He had 14. His senior teammate back there, Grant Hartley, ends up with 17 points, including 4 or 7 from the free throw line. He did only have one three-pointer, though, and again, it still hits his 17-point average after being held to 2 in the first half. Rounding out the scoring for the Wildcats, 7 points for 6'2" freshman Blake Moore. Logan Nagel added a couple of points, as he was also effective on rebounding and passing as well. Zach Shackelford, that Liam mentioned, only in his 6th game back, coming back from an injury during the football season. He scores 7, and the scoring rounded out by sophomore Tucker Webb, who had a couple of points. Let's get into the rest of the stats. First of all, let's name a shooting star of our game tonight. The shooting star brought to you by United States Air Force. Aim high. Visit Staff Sergeant McCraven in Avon or visit airforce.com. There's our shooting star coming from all over the court tonight, Max.
Yeah, and even in a losing effort, Christopher Radman, great. Now, you alluded to his 18 points, 4 of 7 from downtown as well, so certainly our shooting star of the evening.
Congratulations to Chris Radman. And our stats, as always, brought to you by our friend Alan Januzzi, CPA, because it's all about the numbers. And we'll start with the first stats to get into is our rebound report. A rebound report covered on the air here by Romeo's Pizza, locally owned and operated in LaGrange. Hey, we're right down the street from Romeo's Pizza. LaGrange and Lorraine, Romeo's Pizza, bring you our rebound report.
Yeah, and what stood out, and we even heard Coach Holzhauer allude to it, it was still a tough night for Keystone trying to get some boards. Firelands, 8 offensive rebounds, 21 total, and 8 going to Aiden Fortner in his first start of the season. And then for Keystone, they got 19 rebounds, so they didn't fall as far behind as they have in previous games.
And one of the things that was really stood out in this game was that literally nobody made a free throw in the first half from either team as it goes to the free throw line, brought to you by Rewalk Law, LLC. You can call attorney Chris Rewalk for a free consultation. But things did pick up for both teams in the second half and kept Firelands in the game, making 5 out of 6 in the fourth quarter. But Keystone had just enough to hold them off here at home tonight. And let's run down a few of the other stats that made up tonight's game.
Well, and, Keystone's coach, Jeff Holzhauer, he did not like some of the mistakes they made. They had 12 turnovers themselves, and then the Falcons also had 11. So we saw a lot of diving for loose balls, especially at the middle of the floor and changes in transition. At the free throw line, Firelands 7 of 14. So they're going to look back, and they know if they would have made a few more, it would have made a big difference in this one. And Keystone just getting the line 4 of 6. So, in comparison there, pretty interesting breakdown.
And I mentioned we have our Mr. Basketball Watch, as WOBL and WDLW Sports is a sponsor of the Mr. Basketball and Miss Basketball Awards that will be presented in March. And our Mr. Basketball Watch brought to you by Nick Abraham, Illyria Ford. Shop IllyriaFord.com. And certainly we're going to talk about Grant Hartley. We mentioned how he had 17 tonight. He's definitely going to be in any conversation about Mr. Basketball this year. And then the other thing that stood out was not only our shooting star, Chris Radman, as a senior, and certainly going to be part of that Mr. Basketball Watch as well, but he just comes off the bench today. And, some guys might sulk or whatever, but again, showing his not only capability, but realizing what his coach is asking him to do, not only comes out and does well, but, outpoints his season average, averaging 10.6 and ends up with 18. So those are guys that'll definitely be keeping an eye on as we get to the second half of the season now. And already time to start talking about playoffs. I know the first girls' state poll came out earlier today. The boys will start coming out next week. And we got a lot still to go for you here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Invite you to like and subscribe and all those social media things you do here on your YouTube channel, because next week we'll be up in Avon Lake as it'll be taking into a Southwestern Conference matchup between the Shoremen and the North Ridgeville Rangers. Also invite you to tune into WDLW tomorrow, where the girls basketball will be taking place from North Ridgeville as the Rangers will take on Midview. And then on Friday, WDLW will be back to boys action with Midview again. This time they'll be playing at Avon. And I invite you to join myself and Dave Rivera this coming Friday night, as we'll be over at Elyria Catholic and broadcasting on WOBL as the Panthers host the Rocky River Pirates in a Great Lakes Conference showdown. For myself and my partner Max Drummond, Edwin Vereen, and Michael Allison behind the scenes, I want to thank you for making us a part of your Tuesday evening Hopefully it was as fun for you as it was for us here, as again another great matchup in the Lorain County League and a fantastic finish with Liam Gorham, the freshman from the Keystone Wildcats, laying it off the glass with 2.7 seconds to go to give Keystone a 49-47 win here in LaGrange. Make sure you stick around with us. We'll be here every Tuesday night of the high school basketball season, and happy to have you with us on the Lorain County Sports Network. Have a great night, everybody.